And now, it's the Stick Niner Empire Podcast Show with your hosts, Iron Mike Arango, Lucas McLaughlin, and Lucas Ortiz.
To your Stick Niner Empire Podcast. Great weekend, guys. I know everyone's excited about the hype here. The Dallas Cowboys came trotting in their horses or their ponies. They wore their assless chaps, so to speak. And, well, we know what happened after that. Starting with you, Ortiz, how do you feel about it? It's a lot to talk about, brother.
A lot of anxiety going into that game. I was kind of worried about Dallas's D, but after that victory, I don't know, man. I think they're one of the biggest shams in the NFL right now. A lot of big shit talkers, not a lot of backers or backer-uppers. And I'm talking to you, Micah Parsons, because you didn't do anything in that game. You got shut down by us. So, there was a lot of back and forth going into that big Sunday night matchup, and we pretty much just served them on a plate. Well done. We did our jobs. We put the league on notice, and Brock Purdy right now is looking like an MVP contender.
I'm thinking that Dallas is top notch, but you know what? We're the elite team to beat in the NFL. Niners looked freaking amazing. Even without McCaffrey going off, someone else is always going to be right there to fill in the shoes. And man, Purdy looks awesome. I mean, we look like a fine-tuned machine right now because of Brock Purdy.
I have to agree with you guys. I tell you what, 2 weeks ago, I was so impressed with the way he played when he went 20 for 21. I kind of had him as a mid-tier quarterback because I'm very hard to impress. It takes me a little while just because I've seen quarterbacks play well for I can name quarterbacks that played well for 3 years, and then they just disappeared. The more I watch him play, though, the more I start convincing myself. I start appreciating for what he is, His anticipation is absolutely fantastic. He anticipates where to throw the ball, his timing, his confidence. There's a lot of things to love about Brock Purdy. Like I said, after last week, a few weeks ago, I kind of had him kind of like in the middle, ascending upward. 2 games ago, I kind of throw him in like number 12. I'm not lying, man. I think I'm starting to feel like he's becoming a top 5 quarterback. He just doesn't have the skill set or the arm talent maybe that some people do, but I'm starting to feel like, who cares? The guy keeps winning. Who am I to complain about this, The sky's the limit with this guy. I feel like we can win a ring with him now. I really do.
And
Yo, Mike, I got to call you out a little bit because I texted you earlier on this week after the game, and I said, Brock MVP? Is he in that discussion? And you said, yeah, he's kind of climbing up top 15. I'm almost ready to put him top 15. And I question mark response. I was like, really? This guy is number 1 in pass efficiency, number 1 in completion percentage, number 1 in turnover to touchdown to turnover ratio, number 1 in QBR, number 1 in passer rating. And I could be wrong, but he's at least top 5 in PFF grades amongst quarterbacks. So, I mean, the only thing he's not doing is throwing it 40 times a game and getting 400-yard passing games, but we don't need that out of him. We don't need to have him throw every other down or have these huge numbers that, let's face it, a lot of times these are quarterbacks that are facing deficits. They have to throw the ball because they're behind two or three touchdowns. So he's my MVP, man. Like, he's smooth, he's charismatic, he's got swagger and confidence. And right now, everybody believes in him on that team, including the coaching staff. Kyle has opened up this playbook more than I've ever seen with any of his quarterbacks, including Jimmy Garoppolo's Super Bowl season.
For sure.
He's got Kyle's full and undivided faith in his abilities, and he's getting stronger. His arm actually looked better than I've ever seen him throw the ball this last game. He had zip on the ball. It's like his arm is fully healed. His elbow is, fully back from that injury, and he's putting some zip and some juice on that ball. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I did.
Yeah, and even when he didn't have the zip, he had the finesse. And I love those little touch passes. I mean,
This is important, right?
Kittle score a touchdown every time he catches the ball in that game, or what?
Hey, three catches, 3 touchdowns.
Pretty awesome, man.
All 3. He had a perfect game from his end.
Off. You know, he was due.
Yeah. And love the T-shirt he was wearing underneath his pads, which caused a little bit of controversy this last couple of days. We've been hearing it all over the radio, social media. Micah Parsons didn't like it. He took it personal. You know what? You could have took it personal during the game and did something and made a tackle. Maybe got a hurry or a hit or a sack. You know, you didn't take it personal to the game, but you want to talk shit on your little podcast on BR. You know, wear it. Kittle wants to wear that fuck Dallas T-shirt, so be it. And I love how he paid homage to Gary Plummer, who originally wore it in the '94 Cowboy 49er playoff game when we kicked their ass. And it's fitting. It's fitting that he was able to do that on the same opponent that Gary Plummer did it to.
Absolutely.
I did not know about that.
I guess he would have to. It's the Cowboys.
I did not know about that. Gary Plummer wore a shirt like that back in '94.
Yeah, he gave him a little credit. He said he wore it specifically because he saw Gary Plummer had done it, and it was something that me and Luke growing up in the Bay Area, going to San Francisco games in Candlestick. We used to see those fuck Dallas, Calvin and Hobbes pissing on a Dallas Cowboys helmet. We used to buy that stuff like that all the time in the parking lots, rolling up to the game in the stick.
Yeah.
So we had seen it, but I'd forgotten about it. I forgot how great those T-shirts were back in the 90s. I wanted
to buy one so bad a couple of times, but my dad just wouldn't let me. And then my brother got the F Dallas one eventually.
Yeah, $5 bootleg T-shirts, parking lot of Candlestick Park. Those are the best. Those are the days.
For sure.
Luke, you would have loved my parents. If it didn't have a dirty word, then I wasn't. If it didn't have a dirty word, then I wasn't allowed to, to not have it, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, gentlemen, as far as the coaching, what a job Kyle Shanahan really is doing this year. A lot of people said that. Well, a lot of people thought, including myself, that the right side of the line wasn't going to hold up as long as it's really has been. Honestly, guys, they're pulling out all the stops. I mean, you're seeing Juice check out there more. He's picking up a block here and there. Kittle's out there blocking.
Warner
Parsons had 0 pressures in
Warner. He had the trifecta. He had a sack. He had a strip. He had an interception. I mean, what more can you ask for this guy? Like I'm not going to say he's the MVP front runner now because TJ Watt is having an insane season, and up until this game, Micah Parsons was having a pretty good case of being a defensive MVP on his own. But you got to put Fred Warner in that conversation now. Yeah. He was all over the place. And Dre Greenlaw was not that far behind. He didn't have the turnovers that Fred Warner was involved in, but
especially on a primetime game like that, right? Primetime game, Warner just lets the world know who he is.
Yeah, and the good thing is people are seeing it on a national stage. It's not just the local game in the Bay Area or Dallas being shown. It's a primetime game, and everybody saw just how valuable those guys are on defense, how tenacious they are, how much they remind me of Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis. They might even be better, guys. I think they're a little more athletic. I think they have a little bit more anger in the way that they tackle. They can't get away with the stuff that they used to be able to back in the Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis days, but they still lay the wood. And Drake Greenlaw will take a 15, as we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years. He's no shy guy to getting that little extracurricular activity after a play. So glad he didn't get it this one. He could have got one on that suplex of Pollard in the first quarter. I was grimacing, saying no, but then they didn't call the penalty, and I was happy. So he got away with one.
Yeah, he did.
Hell of a play, though. Tackle.
You know what's interesting? You just brought up the fact that Fred Warner is now definitely one of the leading candidates. I would say I'd put him top 2. Imagine, I doubt it's ever happened before. The Niners actually have the ability to have the MVP, the offensive player of the year in McCaffrey, and the defensive player of the year all wrapped up in one for the hat.
And the coach of the year. Let's say we go 16-1. I don't think we're going to go undefeated, but let's say we go 61. We have one mishap. Make it all. I mean, they don't judge all. They don't give awards out for the postseason play, but let's say we go 16-1, deep in the playoffs, Super Bowl, whatever, win it. you got to give Kyle a lot of consideration for being head coach of the year. I mean, despite some of the other good coaching performances out there so far, I think Mike McDaniels is up there, or former OC.
For the second year in a row, he's a candidate early in the season.
Yeah,
but
and we'll talk about the Dolphins later. I have a little nugget that I want to share with you guys when we talk about the Dolphins later. I think they're going to be the team that we're gonna see in the Super Bowl if we make it there.
I've been saying that for 3 weeks, and that's the only team I don't want to play.
I want to play them. I want to play them because of what they said about one of our former players, and we'll get into that.
I don't want to play them because of the speed that they have. Out of the 7 fastest runs in NFL history, they own 5 of them now.
Yeah.
But you know what?
And they're all on that team, that current team. They got Mozart. They got a rookie running back that had like 2 80-yard catches.
Who's hurt?
Runs,
yeah.
Something like that the other week.
Yeah.
They got Tyreek Hill, who's probably going to get 2,000 yards. They got Waddle, who's another speeding bullet. The Niners are a better team than the Dolphins. The Dolphins are not as consistent as the Niners. But I will tell you right now, that's a team I do not want to play because I'm afraid of coverage on them.
Yeah. I don't want to get too off the subject, but I fear their offense, but their defense is nowhere near as good as us.
I agree.
So they're going to have to stop us more than we're going to have to stop them. Boys,
I do agree with that.
Boys, let's talk about this game more. I mean, offensive line, how good were they?
Time to get down in the trenches with Lucas Ortiz.
Oh, are we going to get down in the trenches already? All right. Well, I was going to get your opinions first. I don't want to step on any toes. Mike, just give me your quick synopsis of that game, offensive line. What did you see? I'll get into mine.
The people that are supposed to play great are playing great, and the people that you thought are not supposed to play that great on the right side, they're playing very good. Trent Williams is unstoppable. He gave up 0 pressures to Big Mouth Parsons. So they're doing fantastic. Kyle Shanahan is great at strategizing, like when it comes to the O-line, because we never come in any year with the most dominant O-line, but somehow we always finish top 10. And I give that to Kyle and the coaching staff.
Yeah,
they're great.
You know, I watched the game a second time, and they played even better than I originally thought. Like I thought, a lot of it was just scheming guys open, but there was plays where Brock didn't have the first option or the second option open, and he had to hit like Jawan Jennings on a big 3rd down conversion on the sideline. Like it wasn't necessarily he was having to get rid of the ball early because there was pressure. The O-line gave him lots of time. He pretty much had a clean back at the end of that game. I think he was tackled once because there was good coverage and he had a scramble and he got tackled from behind. But other than that, there wasn't a ton of pressure on him. Cole McKivitz is getting stronger as the year goes along. Like I thought he was our biggest weakest link. And he's proven to be every bit as good as McGlinchey, maybe even better now at pass protection. McGlinchey had a lot of issues. He would give up some big sacks at the worst time, and he was prone to penalties. He had his issues with speed defenders, guys that were quick off the edge. Every time McKivitz went against Micah Parsons, and I would say half of the time he got some help, he handled him. Micah Parsons didn't have 0 on the stat sheet. No hurries, no pressures. He's going to definitely be one of my players of the game. I thought Williams, he just, it's almost like he doesn't even try out there. Every time he would go against DeMarcus Lawrence, Michael Parsons, it didn't matter, would stone them. He gave up little to nothing in the pass protection blocking. And, he did his typical stellar job of mauling guys. I think he was even responsible for getting Kyle Van Der Esch hurt, and it might be season-ending injury for Kyle Van Der Esch. It's kind of, as much as I don't like guys on the Cowboys, I hate to see guys get hurt or have their careers put at an end, and it might be one of those types of neck injuries that might cause that to happen. And I think it was at the end of the game, he blocked him into Micah Parsons, and you just saw him almost motionless on the ground with it looked like a spine or a neck injury. But Trent Williams, he did his job. That's what he's supposed to do. He's an animal. He's a silverback gorilla out there, and his job is to put guys on their backs, and that's what he did. So the O-line was amazing. They're getting stronger. They're getting better. We did have an injury on the offensive line. Unfortunately, Aaron Banks didn't play the second half, but John Feliciano more of a backup center, but he plays a little bit of guard. Took over, and we didn't miss a beat. We still scored, and we were able to move the ball. Guys weren't getting past him, so it looks like we have a little depth in the middle. Guard center position is not.
I'm very aware of him. I actually know one of his family members. I know his mom actually, but
Yeah, he was with the
dude
Giants.
actually was a solid player for the
Last year.
Raiders.
Oh, for the Raiders too.
For the Raiders, and he was a starter there for years.
And he was with the Giants last year, right, if I'm correct, right?
I think so. And before that, he was with the Bills. And he wasn't bad with the Bills either. He's had a good career. He's just in the lower end of his career now. He's in his 30s now. But in his prime, he was a decent, just a very solid, reputable guy.
Yeah.
You know, so I was
solid
very happy
backup.
to get him on the team.
I don't know if he's going to have to step in as a starter next week.
Do we have an update on
Early
Banks?
indications is that it's not a serious injury. It's not a bicep tear for Banks, but it's more of a deep shoulder bruise. Yeah. So if he can play with the pain and maybe get a shot, like I think he should be fine.
I think they said day to day.
Day to day. Yeah. So that was scary. Like when I heard bicep tear initially, that was like, all right, that's his season right there. That's surgery, and that's at least a 6-month recovery. So O-line's looking good, boys. We're healthy for the most part. We're going into Cleveland, about to go against one of the best defensive lines in the league. So we'll see how they fare against them.
I think it's interesting if you just look at the game plan, right? Like Shanahan, I think that Dallas prepped for McCaffrey getting way more touches than he did because he's just the previous games, right? But I like that you can mix it up, and McCaffrey ends up only 19 touches for 51 yards, and Mason actually had more yards than him at 69 yards with that big touchdown. That was a pretty nice drive, right? One play,
right?
26 yards of touchdown.
McCaffrey ended, I think he was less than 3 yards per carry. So they were keen on him. You could definitely tell they were giving him a little extra on tackles, like going for his head. They opened the game with a really flagrant face mask that gave us a nice 15-yard first down. I think they were kind of headhunting him. I don't know if you guys saw it that way,
but that just shows how good we are when we're healthy.
A couple 15-yard penalties on McCaffrey. And they were, trying to twist his ankle when they would tackle him and wrap up, hold him up and have another guy, give him an extra pop. I think the Cowboys were playing a little dirty, but, once they started to get their ass beat, they started giving up. That Mason run in the fourth quarter, you could tell they had all been giving up.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the play that Van Der Esch was hurt, and that Micah Parsons limped off to the field because he was knocked into by Van Der Esch, and I think it hit him in the ribs, and he just kind of limped away like a little, bitch hurt dog. Like, of course, he wants to go talk shit after the game, but it's neither here or there. Like we stuck it to them, and they gave up in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Game balls, gentlemen. You want to give out some game balls today, starting with you, Luke?
Wait.
Game balls, offensive side or defensive? Who's your star of the game?
For defense, Fred Warner, absolutely MVP of that game, and he made sure people know who he is. So I would go Fred Warner on the defensive side. And then offensive side, it's just Brock Purdy. He just made us look good. It's the way that he was playing, the way that he's so calm and collected. And, even when he throws a bad pass, he goes right back to the huddle, and that people just believe in what he's doing. And Shanahan can really mix it up right now because everyone's healthy. So I'm going to say Purdy, and they're the obvious ones, but Purdy on offense and Warner on defense.
My man threw 4 TDs. He deserves it. I feel you.
Even though Kittle.
Ortiz.
Go ahead.
So my guy on defense is Dre Greenlaw, his partner in crime, his Robin to his Batman. He was a beast from the get-go. I love that play where he picked up Pollard. And even if he had gotten the 15-yard penalty, it set the tone. It made every guy on that team scared to get the ball. They didn't want any part of getting tackled by Greenlaw that game. He was just – it felt like he was all over the field. Whether it was a pass play, he was getting depth and coverage and, guarding tight ends and running backs. If it was a run play, he was the first guy to the ball. And if he wasn't the first guy to the ball, he was the second guy to the ball. Love the way he played this game. On offense, Purdy doesn't have the game he has unless he has good protection. And I felt like the guy that they were going to target, Dallas was going to target, was Colton McKivitz. They were going to bring it with DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, and those guys had 0 sacks, 0 pressures. They didn't do anything against McKivitz. He did have a little help with some chip blocks here and there, but for the most part, he was blocking a lot of one-on-one against those guys, and he did his damn thing. I love that guy. He is tougher than he looks. You can see why the 49ers drafted him and they gave him the gold helmet designation, which is somebody that they really covet as a draft pick.
Yeah.
And he's got that dog in him. He's a country West Virginia hunting son of a bitch who's just got like that anger that when he gets out there, I wanna just be as bad and as menacing as possible. And he's shown it. He's one of the better offensive linemen in the league now that I've seen him through these first 5 games. So those are
I think that's I think moving forward, that's going to be the Ortiz Award, the Golden Helmet Award.
The Golden Helmet.
And we're going to name it after your head, possibly, buddy. On offense, you guys made it easy for me. I'm going to have to go with Kittle because he hasn't been used the way we enjoy watching Kittle get used. We like to see him go out there every week. But 3 touchdowns on 3 catches, of course. How are you not going to give it? There's so many people that deserved it, honestly. But Brandon Ayuk deserves it every week almost also. I'm going to give it to Kittle. On defense, that I feel like almost those 2 players almost dominated by themselves, Greenlaw and Whitner. But I tell you whose name you didn't get. I tell you who did not get picked on in this game was Isaiah Oliver. He's been playing pretty good lately, hasn't he?
The whole secondary played really well.
I mean, he doesn't.
Who did they score the touchdown? Who was the touchdown scored on? I can't remember. It might have been Oliver against Turpin, the speedster. I thought he played a good game, but I think he fell victim to that one play. I think Turpin.
Still, he's your number 3. If he's playing that good, that's all he's given up. He's not getting destroyed out there every week. And what I've been noticing is he's very physical. He runs the line, makes tackles. He's been making plays little by little, kind of under the radar. We're starting to notice a little. So we're hopeful. Remember, it wasn't usually their first or second round pick. Hopefully, he will reach his potential here in San Francisco. So that is my hope.
Good pick.
Hey guys,
what's up?
I don't know if you know, but Dak Prescott sucks. According to Donte Whitner, former strong safety of the 2011 Super Bowl San Francisco 49ers, he had an interesting take right after the game. He covers the 49ers for NBC Sports Bear, and he just came right out and said, Dak Prescott sucks. And that got heard by everybody in the league. Yeah. Everybody had a response on Twitter. Everybody's tough on Twitter. When they're behind a computer and they're typing, they're Mr. Tough Guy. Tyreek Hill had something to say for Donte Whitner. He said that, who is this old head? He needs to shut up and mind his damn business. I'm paraphrasing. Donte Whitner didn't back down. He said, I said what I said. You lucky punk. You may be fast, but I would have killed you in the league if you were playing against me. And I thought that was beautiful. I love that. Even our analysts and post and pregame analysts are talking shit and showing everybody in the league.
The Dallas Cowboy fans are talking trash, right? I got Cowboy fans calling me up, begging to see Trey Lance play,
Absolutely.
man.
Well, Dante's the sharpest dresser, too.
And I'm not kidding about that, by the way. Like, they're ready to move on from Dak Prescott. They're like, let's give Trey a chance. Let's see something else, because they're getting convinced that Dak is no good. He is what he is. He started off his career a certain way. He looked great his rookie year. He took the next year. His stats weren't really better. They were bigger because he played more games, but he wasn't a better quarterback. He really looked.
I think Dallas is a good team, you guys. I just think we're way better right now. Especially
superior team, better coach, better quarterback.
Right.
So the problem with that is that, knock on wood, I hope it doesn't happen to us. They've lost a Pro Bowl cornerback now and their starting linebacker for the season. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough trading. As good as their defensive line is, like not having that lockdown cornerback, or at least one of the best cornerbacks in the league, is going to be really tough to stop teams like us, the Eagles, even who else is good in the Rams. Anyways, I want to see the Dolphins in the Super Bowl. What about you guys? If you had to pick an opponent, more than any team, I want to see the Dolphins. I think that would be so fitting.
Before we can beat them again. Yeah.
Yeah.
We beat them
I mean,
in the Super Bowl.
rematch with Mahomes would be nice too, but I kind of want to see the Dolphins. I could see that.
I'd rather beat Mahomes, but I never like to play against Mahomes because I know what happens most of the
Yeah,
time.
they cheat way too much. I'd rather play the Dolphins.
So the Dolphins are inconsistent. I see them play. I see them play, unfortunately, all the time living here in Florida. Dolphins are very inconsistent, but I don't like the speed factor. Does worry me. It's not like they got one guy or backups coming off the bench that run, that run at that elite level. They got all of those starters out on the field at the exact same time. If they put out Molzer and the rookie, they got 5 guys that can blaze all at once. That's scary. That is scary.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else is scary? We just picked up a nice DN for nothing.
Yeah. No shit.
I don't know if everybody knows, but the 49ers traded for Randy Gregory. Wasn't getting a lot of playing time in Denver, but he was one of the better pass rushers for the Dallas Cowboys 3 or 4 years, and they wanted to re-sign him, but Denver came with a better deal. Denver's a trash can on fire right now. It is a train wreck.
Yeah.
It is not looking good there. So he asked his way out of there, and they granted him his release. And before they did that, the 49ers called and said, hey, we'll do a pick swap. You pay the rest of his salary. We'll take care of $800,000, and that's it. That's all we owe him. If it works out, if it works out, and we win a Super Bowl with him, it might be one of the best pickups midseason that the team's ever had. I put it up there with
late in the rounds anyway, so it's like getting him for free almost.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we didn't trade anything. If you really think about it, it's going to be a high pick anyway.
And he's a first round pick, right? Former first round pick of the Cowboys.
Yep.
I know over the last year or so he's been hurt a little. He hasn't played much. It has affected his play. But he's healthy to go now. So I'm curious.
Absolutely.
I'm very curious to see what he's going to do.
Low risk.
Because there's definitely a place where you could start up your career again. You're a defensive player with
high
this type
reward
of talent. He is a nasty player. He likes to hit hard. He's a very aggressive, strong guy. So I think personality-wise, he's going to fit in with the defense fantastic.
And I've seen him. I've kind of looked at some of his prior games. He's got a great get off. He reminds me a little bit of D Ford, maybe not as fast, but he's got a similar repertoire of pass rush moves. Like that's his thing. You want to bring him in on second and long, third and long, and put him in that pass rush defense that we have that's really good as it is right now. But I think you can never have enough pass rushers on the team. One guy goes down, you got to have another guy. If he goes down, you got to have one more. So more than love the pickup.
Back, but yeah,
I think it's going to pay dividends.
We're going to complement the rest of the guys we got right now.
By the way, gentlemen, for all of you watching out there, if you like the show, like to subscribe so we can get more content out to you.
Absolutely. So, gentlemen, we have the Cleveland Browns next week. How's it looking in your minds? You think this is going to be an easy victory, or are we going to be tested?
Well, Deshaun Watson might not play.
Oh,
I don't think he's going to play. He hasn't been practicing so far this week.
The funny thing is, he's supposed to be. But the funny thing is, they say he's kind of like day to day, but he doesn't seem to want to play either. That's the kind of impression I'm getting. So he had an extra week off also. I don't see why he's not playing, but I don't think he wants to play. I think Cleveland's shaking in their boots right now, man. Our boys from San Fran, they love playing there. They love to stay there because they stay at, Eddie DeBartolo or the Yorks over there somewhere by that ranch. So they get hooked up every time they're up there. They stay there.
They usually stay in Youngstown, Ohio, but I think because they're playing a Monday night game, it's worth it to go back to the Bay Area and then fly back out to Minnesota for Monday night. So I've heard that they're not going to be staying out there for a 2-week trip. From everything I've heard, Watson hasn't practiced. He spent more time on the massage table than he has on the practice field. Boom, boom, boom. And they're probably going to go with PJ Walker. I think he's the third string quarterback on the team. Second string quarterback didn't look too good this last week. So he might take a flyer on the third string guy, see what he does, see if he looks any better. I'm only worried about their defense. If their defense keeps the score low, makes it a tight game, gets a turnover here and there, that's my worry. But I don't think they're going to score a lot of points on us.
No Chubb, no Watson, no problem.
No Chubb, no Watson, no problem. Right. Yeah. Like who's going to get the ball to Amari Cooper and Njoku? Nobody. So we'll see. But I'm not too worried. I think it's going to be another Purdy for 30. Every game so far, he scored
another Brock party. We're gonna have another Brock party this week, guys.
Party, yeah, and we're just gonna keep this Brocktober going strong.
Oh shit!
We're gonna win. We're gonna lose a game in this month, or hopefully not this season. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a blowout win, 38-17. I think they'll tack on a couple of cheap touchdowns at the end of the game, but it's going to be with backups in there. 38-17.
I don't see them getting 17 now.
49ers.
I am hoping that we get to bench our D-line in the middle of the third quarter for the second week in a row.
That would be awesome.
So that might give them some hope. I'm going to say we take it easy on them. 32-6.
32-6. Okay.
Maybe 3.
I'm thinking blowout. We're going to go, it's going to end up being 42-10 Niners.
Back-to-back 42 performances. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I mean, I feel like we could have gotten 50 last week, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and this will be a game where we get back to discussing who's the MVP of the season. Is it this guy, Christian McCaffrey, run CMC, or is it Brock Purdy? I think Brock's going to come down to earth. He's only going to score. He's only going to throw a couple touchdowns, maybe quarterback sneak one in, but I think McCaffrey's going to get 2 or 3. 1 passing, 1 receiving, one passing. I think he's going to throw for a touchdown this game. I just got a feeling.
Nice.
Call it an instinct. Little halfback pass. That first touchdown to Kittle, there was a decent pass rush, but he just stepped up in the pocket. Threw on
he took a hit
It was
on the flea flicker. On that flea flicker reverse play, he took a nasty hit. Yeah, he stares down the defense. He's not afraid to get popped, man. He stays in there and he'll take the hit, but he'll complete it.
But he put that touch on that one to kill too, and he just kind of like blipped it out like Joe Montana. That looked pretty good.
Yeah,
I thought he put touch on all those TDs, man. That first one was just a beautiful looking pass. I know the guy was wide open, but like he was kind of like leaping off the floor a little, jumping off a little bit. Mm-hmm. I love the flea flicker one because, he took the pressure. He showed he had no fear. All 3 of his touchdowns looked fantastic.
His best throw of the night didn't even count. It was 3rd and 4. He hit Ayuk on a perfectly thrown out. I think Ayuk wasn't even out of break it when he threw the ball. It had zip. It was perfectly thrown. Ayuk wound up getting 40-something yards on it, but it was called back because of penalty.
Yeah.
His very next throw, Deebo Samuel's down the middle for another 40-yard gain. He wasn't even open yet when he threw the ball. He threw the ball in anticipation of where he was going to be, perfectly in between 3 or 4 defenders. It was his best 2 throws of the season, and they were back-to-back.
It just ended up being Purdy, man. Purdy's going to end up – looks like he's the best quarterback in that draft right now.
You never know.
He doesn't overthink.
You never know until a guy gets into an NFL game how he's going to perform in an NFL game.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
There's something ironic.
He plays with the rhythm of a play instead of trying to think too much, like don't think meat. He just drops back. He goes through his reads, but he's not like trying to overthink it. He just plays with instinctually. Okay, I'm gonna step up into the pocket, and then So he's pretty.
What would you guys think if I told you that in his first 12, 13 games, he has more touchdowns and a better rating than Trevor Lawrence? Pretty much, he's better on every level almost. But Trevor Lawrence gets all the media attention because of who he is, which is understandable. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it.
Well, he's not. I'm not comparing his start to Trevor Lawrence or guys like that. I'm comparing his start to Dan Marino, who's his idol, who he wears 13 because of. Dan Marino came into the league as a lead quarterback, as any quarterback has come into the league performing, and he's at that level. He doesn't have the arm that Dan Marino does, but who does? He's playing, in his numbers and his consistency is that of Marino, and that's who I think he most his success is comparable to.
I see him. Don't start flipping out, Ortiz. He's like a poor man's Drew Brees. What I mean by that is he does all the same things that Drew Brees does well.
I thought he looked like Drew Brees just in terms of stature and intelligence.
Yeah.
I like that
stature, intelligence. He does all the same things Drew Brees does well. I'd say Drew Brees has a little bit of a stronger arm. Purdy has more legs, but he's he's kind of ascending a little bit to that a little bit also. So
like
he's
that.
the guy that I think of. I think of Drew Brees with a little bit of a weaker arm with more legs. That's how I see it. Very similar. It's just very consistent. They're both very consistent.
Let's get out of here.
Go effing Niners, kick Cleveland's ass. Let's go.
Another primetime victory.
Let's go.
Coming
We'll
up
be
on
shocked if we didn't.
See you, boys.
Later, man.
Another blowout on the ropes. Here we go. Good night, guys. Like and subscribe. Good night.
Go Niners.
Go Niners.
And now, it's the Stick Niner Empire Podcast Show with your hosts, Iron Mike Arango, Lucas Ortiz, and Lucas McLaughlin. Go Niners.